Hey everybody, my name is Brendan Noble and I'm a young adult author. Happy Easter everybody, and sorry for this video being one day late. I actually spent all of yesterday being a mythological creature as the Easter Bunny, and because of that, I thought today would be a fun topic to be talking about Easter eggs and their traditions and where they actually came from. And that's relevant to my Slavic Saturday series, which is kind of Slavic Sunday today. Where I talk about these kind of Slavic myths, traditions, and folklore, because Easter eggs actually come from traditions in Eastern Europe and Slavs with some of their pagan traditions over the years. And so let's start to explore some of that. But quickly, before I go into that, quick update on my books I'm doing this series for. I'm writing a Slavic fantasy series, and I'm getting very close to the ending of the first draft of the first book, so I'm very excited about that. You can join my newsletter down in the comments below to hear more about that in my monthly newsletter. And also a quick disclaimer, as always, because there's not a ton of written sources and primary sources when it comes to Slavic mythology and traditions. A lot of it is verbal or written from Romans or other sources that can be not as perfect, so I have to take a little bit of creative freedom. But that's okay. That's part of the fun of this. A lot of traditions actually in Christian celebrations come from pagan ones, because in the Middle Ages, a lot of what the Christian missionaries would do they would come to an area, see a pagan holiday, and kind of plant a Christian holiday or take the traditions and try to morph them into a Christian one, to try to make it easier on the populace to fall into Christianity instead of having to do more forceful methods or things, though that definitely happened too. So things like this are the Christmas tree is a German pagan tradition. And in the Slavic traditions, this happened a lot. A lot of the gods got renamed into saints. I know Veles did. And then a lot of the demonic or creatures got renamed into, well, Christian demons or devilish creatures. So a lot of this happened with a lot of Slavic folklore mythology. And the egg is no different, or the Easter egg kind of is no different. So in Slavic tradition, the Easter egg is a symbolizes kind of birth, new life, and the victory of life over death, especially because this cycle of winter, spring, summer is a big thing in Slavic tradition, which I talked about a bit with Marzana, who's the goddess of the winter. And this is because the winters in Eastern Russia or Eastern Europe and Russia are still very tough today, and they were very tough back then. So the fact when they were over, it was something to celebrate. And they celebrated this by painting eggs and then often going on egg hunts for these things. And this was kind of often combined with the festivals, such as one with Marzana, with Topiene Marzani, which was the drowning of Marzana, which was symbolizing the death of winter. In Polish, these eggs are called Pysanky, and they're also called similar things in other languages as well. I think the Czech one is very similar as well. But there's a tradition that across a bunch of different countries for this. And the eggs were painted with different designs. They might represent a god with their colors, or a creature, or a spirit, or just representing the coming of spring. So those were fun traditions for a lot of them to participate in. And when the Christian missionaries come around, they see that this tradition is happening in spring, very close to the Easter holiday season, and they two kind of got morphed together, and then it spread around the world. And now we kind of celebrate it because of that. So it's a tradition that's been carried out for thousands of years. And so the egg doesn't just come from this spring celebration, though, in Slavic tradition. The egg is a very big deal outside of just this kind of spring season, and it represents the golden egg, for example, with the creation myth, which is very disputed in Slavic mythology. It's one of the hardest ones to figure out what exactly was this creation myth, because different tribes and different cultures had different ones. But one of the myths was that there was a golden egg at the start of time, and either the god Svarog or Rod, depending on whether you believe Rod actually existed in that Slavic tradition, it's also controversial, But he, whichever god you believed in here, you believed the historical people believed in, had taken this golden egg and used it to create the world. He created the goddess who became his wife, Lada, who is the goddess of love, and then together they created the three realms in Slavic mythology, which are Pravia, which is the realm of the gods, Yavia, the realm of the living, and Navia, the realm of the dead. Those translations can be a little bit different depending on which language you're looking at as well. But the golden egg is the symbolism of this first bringing of life, and that's incredibly powerful in the Slavic tradition, and is a fairly certain symbol no matter which culture you look at with it. And one quick other fun story where that involves the egg in Slavic mythology is Koshai the Immortal, which is often improperly translated to Koshai the Deathless. He is a guy / creature that you sometimes see in a lot of stories. There's actually even a Witcher character from that series that's based on him. So he's pretty famous in a lot of Russian, especially folklore, even Turkish. There's some drawn from here in some of the eastern areas as well, with some of the Khanates, where he is a kind of like Voldemort character, where he's got like Horcrux, where his soul is located elsewhere, and part of it was nested within often an egg, but that egg, some of the stories are like it was in a needle, which is in an egg, which is then in a duck, which then flies away, or it could be in something that's even in a dragon or something. So there's the symbolism there of an egg and Cush of the Immortal, and it's kind of a fun, interesting, weird little story. I'll go into that more in another video, but it just again shows that even a lot of creatures and stuff have this relevance with the egg. So lastly, I'd just like to say, as a Christian, I find it kind of sad that a lot of the holiday traditions of the pagans kind of got washed away. A lot of things got burned or drowned or thrown away completely, so we don't have really any records of what the other people believed, which is a shame. It's I really wish we could have more to analyze what the culture was before this time, but unfortunately we don't. But we can still have the fun with the tradition, with the Easter egg, whether you're following the Christian holiday or the pagan one, whatever. It's a fun thing to do with the family, and especially during the time that we're having right now with the quarantine, we need to be able to have a little bit of fun with the family, and I was able to do that a little bit with being the Easter Bunny yesterday. So I hope everyone has a good Easter season as much as they can with their family, and everyone's staying safe. I look forward to talking to you all next week, where we talk about more with Slavic mythology, traditions, and history.